Hey guys, Ashley Cheeks here. Today we're going to talk about why you need to guard your equity with your life when you're starting your business. The backstory to this topic is I frequently get offered to do business plans in exchange for equity instead of payment. Now, for several reasons, that's not something that I do. It's not ethical in certain areas, and I just don't find it to be the right approach. But what I find is people that tend to offer me equity in exchange for work is that they've already done it several times and there's not much equity left in the business by the time it gets to the business plan. Very specifically, the company I'm thinking of had given away equity for somebody to do their marketing materials. So instead of paying somebody for a logo, they exchanged a percent of equity. And instead of paying somebody to help them with their entity setup, they gave that person a percent of equity. And it goes on and on. So by the end of it, there really, was a large majority of 1% shareholders that owned a piece of this business that may or may not actually materialize. But on top of all that, the main owner had less than majority share. Now, the reason why this is important is this person was looking for over $1 million in funding. And to approach an investor for any sum of money and say, I only own, 40-something% of my business and this is the money that I want, that's not going to look too good. That's going to look like you're giving your company away, and this investor does not want to be involved with somebody that is literally just shelling out equity left and right. Usually when you go towards an investor, you want to make sure that you have something to offer this person so that they want to be engaged in your business. A lot of times investors want to have some power, or they want to have some type of control, or they want to know that their partners, which would be you and whoever else has equity in the company, are like-minded in business approach so that you guys are on the same page. So if you give out your equity to a lot of people, now all of these little 1%ers or whatever percent you're giving out, they all have a say in your company. Now this situation's come up also with family and friends. When entrepreneurs start their business, a lot of times they make promises and they say, you know what, brother, as soon as I get this off the ground, you're going to be a 30% shareholder and, we're going to tackle this thing together. Very specifically, I had a client who said that they wanted to bring their brother on board in year 3 after the business is up and running and give this brother 30% equity. And I said, that's great, but why aren't you bringing him in earlier? Why not give him equity and make him start working with you today? He said, well, my brother doesn't want to take the risk of putting in the time and the effort and everything so, vague right now that he's not comfortable coming in until things are actually smooth and running and operating. I said, well, then why are you giving him 30% equity if he's not willing to put in the sweat to get it to where it's successful? People that put in sweat equity are literally sweating for their equity. They're putting in effort, they're putting in time, they're putting in something that's bringing value to making sure the business succeeds. So be very, very careful not to do all the work and then give out all the equity. And be very careful not to exchange cash for equity early on, because that 1% may be worth way more than $1,000 that you're paying that guy to do your logo. That 1% could be worth millions depending on where your company goes, and you're handing it out like it's nothing because you don't feel it leaving your hands. Don't make that mistake. Protect your equity with your life that is yours, and do not exchange it unless somebody has earned the right to have a piece of your company.